Hello and welcome back to the Sports Sermon. I'm Dylan Staggy.
I'm Jason Gandhi.
I'm Zach Munson.
I'm Dan Majors. I'm John Majors.
And welcome to our big board for the 2017 NBA Draft. Today we're going to go through 15 of the top players, give our analysis on them, and then list the rest of our big board. To see the article that goes with this video, make sure you click the link in the description. So, let's start it off at number 1. Who do you guys have at number 1?
All right, I'll go first. It's a little bit of a surprise. I went Lonzo Ball at number 1. I just like his court vision and ability to set up his teammates, and that's why he's my number 1 guy. He makes guys want to pass the ball, and he orchestrated the fastest offense in college last year. Defensively, there's some work to do, but defense is a mentality, and the Lakers know that for sure, watching it with Nick Young. With his shot-making ability, court vision, and length, Lonzo on the right team could be a superstar in this league. And my player comparison for him is Steve Nash or Jason Kidd.
I also have Lonzo Ball number 1. He's a great passer, a winner, and he makes his team better. That's exactly what the Lakers need. UCLA was 15-17 the year before Lonzo came, and now they were 31-5 to finish off the season. Lonzo Ball is a born winner, and he will help out their team.
That's what I'm talking about. 2 Lonzo guys.
I have Markelle Fultz number 1. I think he's simply the best player in the draft. Like, in a draft where all the top prospects all have flaws, I don't think he has any clear weakness. Great scoring ability, shooting, ball handling, vision, elite athleticism. He even has a 6'10" wingspan, which will help him with rebounding and defense. He checks every major box of elite guard in the NBA, and I think he'll be a future superstar.
Yeah, I also have Markelle at number 1. He's just elite offensively. He can knock down shots from everywhere. His mid-range game is really strong, and I think he had a terrible situation at Washington, nobody to pass the ball to, so his passing and effort will improve once he gets into the NBA.
I also have Markelle at 1. He's the most complete player in the draft. Can handle the ball, can shoot, has great playmaking ability. A little bit of questions on the defensive side with being a little lazy, but he should be fine.
All right, my number 2 is the guy you guys just mentioned, Markelle Fultz. He's everyone else's number 1. I'm not on high on him just because of how dependent he is to have the ball, and he doesn't have that winning pedigree that Lonzo brings. He can still score from anywhere and is very comfortable in the pick and roll, something that he does have over Lonzo. He has superstar potential, but needs to get more discipline on defense and be better off the ball because, especially if he goes to the Sixers, which is projected to, him and Simmons both need the ball a lot in their hands to be successful, and so I think that could be an issue. But my player comparison for him is D'Angelo Russell. Just watching his game and watching his film, I saw a lot of D'Lo in Markelle's game.
I have Markelle number 2. The only reason I have him number 2 is because he didn't win a whole lot in college. I know it was a rough situation, but you have to win some games. Also, Markelle is not going to have as great of a career as Lonzo, in my opinion, so that's why he's number 2.
So, do you like Ben Simmons a lot?
He's all right. I think he'll be pretty good because of his size.
Yeah, he's
Because of his size.
6'10" or 6'11",
Because
and he can handle the ball.
He didn't win a lot of all-time, but that's what I'm going to say.
But they were bubble on the tournament. They didn't win double-digit games at Washington.
Yeah,
But
Washington
they didn't
really
win the
struggled.
I know
he
they were
had
bubble
no one
on
on
it. They
his team.
didn't win double-digit.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that at all. I have Lonzo number 2. He has the potential to be the best player in the draft, but that's potential. He's gotten all these Jason Kidd comparisons. We know he's an elite passer, great court vision, but the reason why I put him number 2 is because of his defense, and I know that's like a big concern. You know, Darren Fox dropped 39 points on him, and I'm not too worried about the impact of LeVar Ball because you're drafting the player, not the team. But I have one thing, Lonzo. Wear your own ZO2 shoes. Don't be wearing other people's shoes. If you're not going to wear them, why were you supposed to wear them? That was a really side thought, but that's just, I just want to say that.
Well, the whole defense thing, I just think is kind of like a joke. Like, you saw last year with Nick Young on the Lakers. Like, the Lakers saw it themselves. Defense is like 85% of mentality. Nick Young was the worst defender for so long. And last year, Coach Walton got him to buy in. And he was like leading the league in like defensive efficiency halfway through the year until he got benched. But,
I haven't seen that yet, so that's why it's my number 2.
I'm just saying in general, I think defense is such a mentality, and Luke Walton got Nick Young to do it. I'm pretty sure he can get Lonzo to buy in too.
Yeah, I also have Lonzo at number 2. His height, I think he does have potential on defense. He hasn't shown a ton of it yet. He's awesome in transition and has NBA range. But I don't really see the quickness in him and kind of the lack of a mid-range game. Along with a little bit of baggage in his stat. I don't think it's a huge concern, but at least something that you have to think about. puts him just a little bit below Markelle Fultz.
Also, I feel like in the game against Kentucky, I feel like Lonzo disappeared.
I don't
Do you not
think
feel
that.
that? I
I mean,
think
I
everyone-
agree,
I think
I
everyone saw
agree, but I don't think it's a big deal. That's one game.
They
and, like,
disappeared.
I don't think it's a big deal. I'm when you look at those two combined, I gotta go, okay, good job, De'Aaron Fox with 39 points. Okay, like it's not like it's one
39
game.
points.
Watch the rest of his film.
How'd
Watch-
that game turn out the first time they played?
Exactly. Watch the
I don't
film.
think it's a big deal.
I feel like
Exactly.
Lonzo
Everyone
disappears
blows it up
sometimes.
so much. It's the last game they ever go watch again.
We have those fights. Markelle Fultz and Ball.
At number Dan, who's your two?
I also have Lonzo Ball at number 2. He has the most star potential out of anyone in this draft, but there's a little bit more of a risk than Markelle. I feel like you know what you're getting in Markelle because of his shots, a little funky, and then there's questions on the defensive side, but he makes everyone around him better, and he'll be hard to pass on for the Lakers.
All right, number 3, I have a little bit of a surprise again. I went Jason Tatum over Josh Jackson. Tatum, in my opinion, is the most NBA-ready prospect. He's 6'8" with a 6'11" wingspan, which allows him to play the 4 at the next level. He's very polished offensively, but needs to get more consistent on offense. He lacks elite athleticism, but makes up for it with his length. I think he could be a perennial all-star if he gets put on a right team. Like, I think the Kings, if somehow he fell to 5, would be a beautiful fit for Tatum. But my player comparison is Danny Granger, but with a lot more potential.
I like that comparison. My number 3 is Josh Jackson. He's an athletic freak of nature, good defender, good size, but he has a questionable jump shot, and he also needs to stay out of trouble if he wants to be a star player in the NBA.
Yeah, I also had Josh Jackson. He can defend 4 positions, which every team will love. He's very fast, can get to the basket at will, but again, that jumper is kind of concerning. He did improve his shooting as the season went on, so that was a good plus. But yeah, just his jumper is the one concern.
Yeah, I think Josh Jackson turns into a great all-around player, especially on the defensive side in the NBA. He is a little bit skinny right now, only at 207 pounds, so I'm not sure if he can guard big 4s yet. But if he fills out a little bit, improves his shooting, he will be an unstoppable player in the NBA.
I also have Josh Jackson at number 3. He can do it all on the basketball court except shoot right now. I think he'll figure that out, though, in the NBA.
All right. My number 4 is Josh Jackson. Jackson's defense is the best in the draft. He, like you guys say, is able to consistently guard all 4 positions. He's a freak athlete. But his offensive game is really where I'm hesitant. His shot needs a lot of work to even be average, and I'm not sure he'll ever develop one. If he does, I think he could be the best player out of the class, but I personally just don't think he'll be able to develop a shot. But if he does, my comparison for him is Kawhi Leonard, but that's assuming he gets a shot. But me personally, I don't think he will.
My number 4 is Jason Tatum. He has great size, strength. He can also shoot and he rebounds. He's a pretty good defender and can guard most positions. Also, what I like about him is he's a good free throw shooter. You don't see a whole lot of forwards be able to shoot at the free throw line, so that's a plus. And just watching him play, he's going to be a star in my opinion.
Yeah, I also have Jason Tatum at number 4. Obviously, one of the most NBA-ready prospects, if not the most NBA-ready prospect. Concerns are his ability to help a team when he doesn't have the ball. Obviously, he's a great one-on-one player, can get to the rack at will. But just how he could help a team when he doesn't have the ball also. I think if he could improve his range from beyond deep, that would help him tremendously.
For me and Jason Tatum, I also have him at number 4. He really reminds me of Melo. He has a strong mid-range game, and I think Melo is exactly what he becomes in the NBA. He doesn't have elite athleticism, but like nothing that he's terrible at either. He kind of does it all and will be an all-around great 3 in the NBA.
I have De'Aaron Fox at number 4. He is a very fast guard that is explosive to get into the rim. Only question really is his jump shot. So if he can figure that out, I think he'll be great.
All right. My number 5 is De'Aaron Fox. He is hard to get a read on from NBA scouts. I know a lot of guys like him more than Ball, but a lot of other guys will say that he's below Dennis Smith Jr. I put him right in the middle because of his potential to be a star. His shot is below average, but he can hit mid-range and floaters somewhat consistently. His athleticism is phenomenal, but weighing only 170 pounds factors into whether or not his athleticism would put on display. He needs to get stronger in order to be able to take it into the paint, but my player comparison for him is John Wall.
My number 5 player is Malik Monk. He's a pure scorer. You do not see that a lot in the NBA. I believe he will be a star. He's athletic. He has outstanding range. He needs to work on his defense a little bit, But in the NBA, it's really hard to find, especially with rookies, to score the ball as a pure scorer. I believe Malik Monk will have a great career.
At number 5, I have De'Aaron Fox. Obviously, he had a great NCAA tournament, as seen by a 39-point performance on Lonzo Ball. He's been creeping up draft boards, and he might even go number 2. Elite athleticism, crazy speed, and he's a monster in transition. The thing that separates himself from the others, which is why people have him at number 2, is his defense. He can defend almost anybody, and if he had a better shot, he'd be higher on my big board.
Yeah, I also have De'Aaron Fox at 5. He can be a defensive stopper at 6'3.5", and with his amazing speed, like Zach said, if he gets a shot, he'll be insane in the NBA with that speed. He's great in transition, and yeah, he dropped 39 on Lonzo Ball. He'll be a great point guard in the NBA.
I have Jason Tatum at 5. He's one of the most athletic players in the draft. Can generate offense, create space. The only problem I see is that he doesn't really move without the ball very well, but his upside will give him a lot of looks in the draft.
All right, number 6. I went Malik Monk. I'm like John, where I'm pretty high on him. I think he's one of the safest picks in the draft because if nothing else develops, teams at least get a very solid shooter to instantly improve their scoring. If his defense and basketball IQ can develop, he can be a steal in the draft. He is the class's best scorer, so whenever a team gets him at least on the offensive end and gets an offensive stud, I compared him to Devin Booker or Eric Gordon.
My number 6 is De'Aaron Fox. We all know about his speed and how good he can handle the ball. He's also a good passer. He needs to work a little bit on his defense. He can steal, but not anything great one-on-one. He's not going to have a great career. Yeah, I think he needs to work on it a little bit.
He's so short, and he's like
Straight up playing
6'3",
one-on-one.
170. He's not going
Well, you can't work on your height. His defense is amazing.
You can put weight on, and you're
You
not
can't
going
work
to
on your
not going to be able to.
He's good at knocking the ball loose. If he needs to play better defense because in the NBA they're going to call fouls on him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would disagree with that. But at number 6, I have Malik Monk. Obviously a great three-point shooter. He is 6'3", so that is a concern for me because 6'3" isn't that tall for a 2 or a 3. His defense can be improved and his shot selection too. He's a scorer, but he does take some questionable shots, which could be improved.
My number 6, I'm going to go with Dennis Smith Jr. He's a great all-around player, and in many drafts he'd be a top 3 to 5 pick, but he just continues to fall down mock drafts for some reason. He's really explosive, but an average passer and kind of average on defense. He is 6'3", though, so I think he has room to improve, and not a lot of guys have passed to at NC State. I think he gets better at that in the NBA, and I kind of compared him to D. Wade a little bit. I think he's just as explosive as Dwayne Wade, and just a little bit slower, though, but I think he could really turn into something special, an all-around point guard in the NBA.
I have Malik Monk at 6. He's best shooter in the draft. He played a little bit of a different role at Kentucky than what teams will want him to do. So if he can figure that out, I think he'll be a future All-Star.
All right, my 7th guy on my board, Dennis Smith Jr. He's another prospect that's very NBA ready already. He fits the modern NBA very nicely, being able to run the pick and roll so well, and he can really score the basketball when he's asked to. He's on the rise, in my opinion, right now as I watch more and more of his film. He has elite bounce and athleticism that will make him a lot of people's favorite player to watch out of the draft. I think he'll get a lot of fans around him. And so my player comparison was Derrick Rose back in his prime with that elite bounce and athleticism.
I like that. I agree with Jason. I have 7, Dennis Smith, athletic, explosive, good size and strength, also a good passer.
Yeah, that would be 3 in a row. I also saw Dennis Smith. He's possibly the best isolation scorer in the draft. He can be a star point guard in the NBA, obviously. He can improve his passing and defense, which he has shown promise when he tries.
At my number 7, I'm going to go with Malik Monk. You guys had him at 6. I have him at 7. He has one of the most complete offensive games in the draft, can shoot the ball from anywhere, but really the only downside is maybe his defense a little bit, but also what kind of goes with it. He's only 6'4", so he might have trouble guarding some 2s in the NBA or 3s if he moves down there, but I think with NBA players around him, he'll be even better, and I think I can compare him to C.J. McCollum a little bit. They both shoot from everywhere, can make any shot, and really get to their shot anytime they want, undersized shooting guards.
I have Frank Ntilikina at 7. He's very athletic and can finish at the rim. Plays outstanding defense. Might be the second best defender in the draft. The thing that stands out though is his length, 6'5", with almost a 7-foot wingspan.
All right. For pick number 8, I went with Jonathan Isaac. He's the best athlete in the draft. His freakish body and athleticism, along with stellar defense this year, has some scouts liking him as a better prospect than Jason Tatum. Isaac's offensive game needs too much work for me to put him that high, but I like his potential in the right system. I compared him to Giannis, Antetokounmpo, or Shard Lewis.
My number 8 is Lauri Markkanen. He's a big player who can shoot. I compared him to Dirk. He's just a younger version of him, and I think he'll have a great career.
At number 8, I had Jonathan Isaac. At the very least, if he doesn't develop his offensive game, he'll be a great defender, great rim protector, a weak side shot blocker. Once again, his offensive game has a lot of question marks. He needs to improve his jump shot and his passing to be a future star, but he's very raw and he has a lot of potential.
I also have Isaac at 8. He is a little bit of a project, but can really be an elite defender against 1s through 4s. He shows flashes on offense, but has still a lot of work to do and a really high ceiling for him. Right now in our mock drafts, we have the Magic taking him at 6. I think all of us do. And I think he'd go great with them and end up being at least a defensive 3 in the NBA.
I have Dennis Smith at 8. Very powerful and is basically the typical athletic point guard. I think John Wall is a great comparison in my opinion.
All right, pick number 9, I have Frank Ntilikina. He has a very raw offensive game and struggles to shoot from deep, but can drive the lane if needed. His defense is the reason he's so high on draft boards. The Mavericks are a team that have scouted him very thoroughly, and the Knicks are another team that are in play in the early lottery to look at Ntilikina. My player comparison to him is Dante Exum.
My number 9 is Jonathan Isaac. We've all talked about him. He has good size. He's athletic. Needs to work on his shooting a little bit, but he will help out on the defensive end.
Yeah, at 9, I had Lauri Markkanen. He's arguably the best shooter in the draft, and he could even be the best shooter at his position in the entire NBA. He lacks rebounding, defense, and passing. He needs to improve his rebounding and defense if he wants to be an all-star in the NBA. But at the very least, he can act as a stretch four who can extend the defense, and teams will love that.
I have Frank Ntilikina at 9. He's very raw, especially on the offensive side, but he can come in right away and contribute on defense. He can score from all 3 levels and is very explosive. Once he figures that offense out, he could be a star point guard in the NBA, especially with that defense.
I have Jonathan Isaac at 9. I think he is the most athletic player in this draft. Plays great defense and exceeds in his shot blocking. I think he has a lot of great tools to be great.
All right, to round out my top 10, I have an interesting prospect here. I went Harry Giles at 10.
Wow.
He's the hardest prospect to gauge. His talent puts him as a top 5, top 10 player easily, but it's the medical side that's really the problem. With multiple ACL tears, teams have to be worried about it. He's had 3 knee surgeries since 2013, so a major red flag. But if his tests come back showing no issues, he could be a late riser on draft night. I compared him to Chris Webber or Julius Randle with a longer body.
I like that. I think that's a little high for him.
I just
have
think
him
it's-
just a little later.
I just think that if you take out the injuries, he's top 5, easy.
I agree.
So I
He's
like,
number 1 player coming out of high school. I can see
Exactly.
the potential.
Yeah.
My number 10 is Frank Ntilikina. He's athletic, can finish strong at the rim, big wingspan, good size. I believe he'll be a good pro.
Yeah, I had Frank Ntilikina. Very long arms, great ball handler, shooter and defender. He can improve his athleticism and his strength. He's a little unpolished, but he's the top overseas prospect for a reason.
At my number 10, I'm going to go with Donovan Mitchell. He has risen quickly up draft boards with his combine performance. He was fantastic there. I think he has a 6'10 wingspan, which teams did not expect. So he can be a great defender in the NBA and is really explosive, can score from all 3 levels, and is solid on defense. And I think a comparison to him would be Avery Bradley. I think Avery Bradley kind of does it all on the offensive and defensive side. Explosive guy, and I think Donovan Mitchell can be exactly like him in the NBA.
I have Lauri Markkanen at number 10. I think he has two things going for him right now, being 7 feet and being a great shooter. But I think that's really it right now, and he has to improve in a lot of parts of his game.
Alrighty. Number 11. I went Lauri Markkanen. Some people have said Markkanen has the best shot in the draft. I'd say he is second to Monk. He is the definition of a stretch four, but really can't go inside even if his team needs him to, and I think that's why Arizona struggled this year. He's very weak, which limits his value to me, but his shooting makes him a definite lottery pick in the draft. Stretch four is the most coveted position in the NBA right now, so my player comparison is Ryan Anderson.
My number 11 is Luke Kennard. I believe he's a lot like Malik Monk. He's a pure scorer, and when you need him late in games, he will help you out. Good shooter. Needs to work on the defense a little bit, but I believe he'll be good as well.
At number 11, I had Zach Collins. Collins showed a lot of promise at Gonzaga, had a great March, very skilled, great touch around the basket, great rim protector, but he does need to improve his strength and fuel for the game around him. He's a little raw, but I think that if he improves his game, he could be a star, honestly.
I also have, I don't have Zach Collins. I have another Collins, John Collins, at number 11. Collins is a bouncy four that also shoots the ball well. He really did it all for Wake Forest last year because not much else around him on that bad Wake Forest team. Not really polished yet defensively, but has a good enough body to guard both threes and fours. He's a solid late lottery pick with the potential to become as good as Blake Griffin.
You really like John Collins. Watching his film, I cannot get behind him. Like I don't think if he wasn't the star, I don't know what he would do on like a Duke or Kentucky.
I don't know. I mean, I think he really can just do it all. He can either kind of fade into the background if he has a good team, do what they need him to do, or he can be the star and put up big numbers. I think he can do either.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right, I'll agree with John on this one. I have Luke Kennard at 11. Great scorer, can handle the ball very well. Isn't as athletic or powerful as the players in front of him. That is why he will not go top 10.
Alrighty. Pick number 12. Zach Collins. Although Collins only attempted 21 threes and made 10 of them, many project Zach Collins as a stretch four in the NBA. I personally don't see it yet, but with his size and athleticism, that could be his future. A lot of his position depends on where he's taken on the draft. In the draft, on draft night, to me, Collins is a lock to be a lottery pick, but where is the real question? Because certain teams need him at the 5, certain teams need him at the 4. My player comparison was Bill Laimbeer or Gorgie Zhang.
My number 12 is also Zach Collins. He's tall, he's a raw player, but he also needs to develop. Not a lot of people knew about him because he wasn't really a star player at Gonzaga, but he did help them get to the national championship game.
At 12, I have Luke Kennard. He's arguably the best shooter in the draft. Great offensive ability, great in pick and roll, and a good passer, but question marks loom around his defense.
At my number 12, I'm going to go with OG Anunoby. He's a defensive stopper. He has a ton of quickness and a 7'6" wingspan, and he will be able to lock down threes in the NBA. He finishes well, and his jumper has some potential, although not really polished yet. Really, the only concerns is him being able to be a top 3 scorer on his team on the offensive side, and the knee injury that's not going to let him play, at least for most of next season.
All right, I have Donovan Mitchell at number 12. He's very athletic, and his height does not show the way he plays his game. He has a 6'10" wingspan, and I think he'll have a great chance to thrive at the next level.
Alright, number 13, I went OG Anunoby. Anunoby is very similar to Giles in the respect that his talent is lottery worthy, but the question mark pops up with his health. After injuring his ACL in January, teams need to decide whether a lottery pick is worth a player with injury history. His defense pre-injury would rival with Jackson for the best in the class, but the only concern was offensive consistency and getting a shot down. Very similar to Josh Jackson before his injury, so my player comparison was Stanley Johnson.
My number 13 is Justin Jackson. He's a very athletic player, solid defender. It can also shoot a little bit. I believe he'll be good as well.
At number 13, I had Donovan Mitchell. He is a monster athletically and an enormous 6'10" wingspan. Great playmaker, shooter, and defender. If he can develop a better dribble drive game, I think he'll be great.
At my number 13, I have Lauri Markkanen. I know you guys had him a lot higher, but really I do not see him doing anything more than standing behind the 3-point line and shooting the ball.
Wow.
He cannot be. I don't think he can be more than a Ryan Anderson in the NBA, and I don't really see him getting to the rim too much, and I think he'll struggle a lot defensively, not big enough to guard fours or really quick enough either, and then not filled out enough to guard fives.
I have Zach Collins at 13. I think he's one of the best two-way players in the draft. Can finish at the rim while also having a great defensive understanding on the other end.
All right, pick number 14 for me, Donovan Mitchell. Coming into the combine, I, along with others, were not this high on Mitchell. He had the best testing at the combine without playing a minute of basketball. He showed his 6'10 wingspan and was a better athlete and defender. He's a better athlete and defender to a very similar player in Luke Kennard. Kennard and Mitchell are battling out to see who will be called first. But with Mitchell, I went with the less athletic Dwayne Wade.
My number 14 is Harry Giles. I agree with Jason. Has a lot of potential, but he could be the biggest risk in the draft. If he goes to the right team, he could be one great player.
At 14, I had OG Anunoby. As a huge IU fan, I love OG. At the very least, he'll be a great defender who can guard four positions. Great size, great wingspan, and athleticism, and explosiveness. He had a lot of crazy dunks. It makes him one of the most promising defenders in the draft. But he needs to improve his offensive game and also his shooting to become a star. He is currently recovering from a torn ACL, and teams should not expect him to play in his first season.
My number 14, I'm going to go with Harry Giles. He could have been the number one pick in this draft if he did not hurt both of his knees. And he did have 3 knee surgeries, which really plummeted his draft stock. Didn't get a lot of time at Duke, but he did show some flashes. And if he can get back to what he was before then, he'll be absolutely fantastic, a steal in this draft.
I have OG Anunoby at 14. I think there's 2 players that are high risk, high reward, and that is OG and Harry Giles. Both suffered season-ending injuries. Or no, Giles didn't suffer season-ending injury, but OG did. And that hasn't stopped teams from considering those players in the lottery. OG is 6'8" with a 7'2" wingspan, and he can guard almost every position on the court.
All right, my last one that we're going to explain is Luke Kennard. As mentioned above, Kennard and Mitchell are very similar. Both are rising up draft boards as the day nears this week. Kennard is a better shooter than Mitchell, but doesn't have the same athleticism. I like Kennard more defensively, but right now Mitchell's a better defender. I think Kennard's got more defensive potential.
Kennard has more defensive potential than Mitchell?
What? I think Kennard will be a better defender.
No way.
Not at all.
I think he will be. I think you will compare with Klay Thompson, but just with less defense right now, because they both can be a 3-and-D type player that I think Kennard will be on a championship team in a few years and really be a starter as a 3-and-D
Hall of
player.
Famer too?
I don't know. I haven't gotten the league yet.
Exactly.
My number 15 is Bam Adebayo out of Kentucky. He's big, solid rebounder, good post defender, but he needs work on his shot. He's a raw player, but if he goes to the right team, he'll also be good.
15, I have Justin Jackson. Great size for a 3 at 6'8". One of the best shooters in the draft class. Obviously, shined at North Carolina. Lacks athleticism. Great feel for the game, and he'll immediately help us space the floor and extend the defense with his shooting.
My number 15, I'm going to go with Jason and Luke Kennard. However, I don't think he's better defensively than Donovan Mitchell. I think Luke Kennard is J.J. Redick, white guys from Duke, and all they do is shoot the ball. I think that's what he becomes in the NBA, and he'll definitely find a role similar to J.J. with all the threes that teams jack up these days.
I have Jared Allen, number 15. I think he's one of the biggest projects in the draft. Has a lot of issues with on-court awareness, but scouts are optimistic about his future and becoming a legitimate center.
All right, so now we're going to start rolling through these last 16 through 30. 16, I went Justin Jackson, and my player comparison for him was Evan Turner.
OG Anunoby at 16 for me.
I have John Collins.
I have Zach Collins, and my comparison was Nikola Vucevic.
I have Justin Patton.
All right, number 17, I had Justin Patton and compared him to Miles Turner.
I had Donovan Mitchell.
I had Jared Allen.
I also had Jarrett Allen. I compared him to Tristan Thompson.
I have this John Collins, who finished second in ACC Player of the Year voting.
I have Terrence Ferguson, and I compared him to Terrence Ross.
I have TJ Leaf.
I also have TJ Leaf.
I have Justin Jackson, and I compared him to a better shooting Matt Barnes.
I have Harry Giles, high risk, high reward.
All right, 19, I went John Collins. My player comparison was Nikola Mirotic.
At 19, I had Oregon's Jordan Bell.
I had Terrence Ferguson.
I had Bam Adebayo, and I compared him to DeAndre Jordan.
And I have Ike Anigbogu.
I went Jared Allen at 20, and I compared him to Robin Lopez or Rudy Gobert.
I had John Collins.
I had Harry Giles.
I had Semi Ojeleye, and I compared him to Jimmy Butler.
I have Justin Jackson, great scorer.
Bam Adebayo at 21, and I compared him to Tristan Thompson.
I had Jarrett Allen at 21, maybe the best hair in the draft.
Justin Patton.
Best hair since Giannis?
I don't know, it's pretty close.
Man,
I love
Giannis
the
had
pro.
that fro at the draft.
Yeah, Jarrett might bring that as well.
I
love
hope
the
so.
pro.
At number 21, I had Terrence Ferguson, and I compared him to Terrence Ross.
I have TJ Leaf at 21.
At 22, I went Jordan Bell, and my comparison was Thomas Robinson or JaVale McGee, but with a better shot.
Mine's Terrence Ferguson.
I have Semi Ojeleye.
I had Justin Patton, and I compared him to Jahlil Okafor.
I'll agree with John, Terrence Ferguson.
All right, at pick 23, I went TJ Leaf, and my comparison was Channing Frye.
My 23 was Yvonne Rabb.
I had one of my favorite players in the draft, DJ Wilson, and my player comparison is Michael Jordan. I'm kidding.
My number 23 is TJ Leaf, and I compared him to Josh McRoberts with a little better shooting.
I have Bam Adebayo at 23.
24, I had Tony Bradley, and I compared him to Andrew Bynum or Rudy Gobert.
I have Justin Patton.
I had Isaiah Hartenstein.
I had DJ Wilson, and I compared him to Aaron Gordon.
I also have the underrated DJ Wilson.
25, I had Ike Anigbogu, and I compared him to Bismack Biyombo.
My 25 might be a little early for him, but I have Caleb Swanigan, good college player. I believe if he goes to the right team, he'll be a good player.
I had Ike Enigbagu.
I also had Ike Anigbogu, and I compared him to Ed Davis.
I have Derek White at 25, rising up draft boards of late.
All right, at number 26, I had Anzais Pasignikis, and I compared him to Donatas Montejunas.
26, I had Ike Anigbogu.
I had Jawan Evans, a 6-foot point guard out of Oklahoma State.
I also had Anzais Peksnis, and I compared him to Miles Turner.
Yep, I'll agree with Jason and Dylan. And the passing Knicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At 27, I went international again. I went Isaiah Hartenstein, and I compared him to Nikola Jokic.
My 27, I have Josh Hart.
I had Jordan Bell.
I had Yvonne Rabb, and I compared him to Andrew Nicholson.
I also have Yvonne Rabb. Should have came out last year.
Yeah.
At number 28, I had Semi Ojeleye and compared him to Draymond Green.
My 28 is Frank Mason III.
I had Tyler Lydon.
If he goes to the right team, backup point guard, he will be a good player.
All right.
Think of
Tyler
like a
Lydon.
Spurs Patty Mills. He will be a
Okay.
good player.
Okay.
Okay.
I had Derek White at 28, and I compared him to Etwan Moore.
I have Isaiah Hartenstein at 28.
At 29, I have Yvonne Robb, and I compared him to Chris Bosh.
My 29 is Dylan Brooks.
I had 29. I had Derek White.
At 29, I had Isaiah Hartenstein, and I compared him to Donatas Montejunas.
I have Tony Bradley at 29.
All right. To wrap it up, my last player on my big board, Caleb Swanigan, and I compared him to a much shorter Kevin Garnett or Draymond Green.
My number 30 is Jawan Evans from Oklahoma State.
I had Bam Bam Adebayo.
That's kind of low. I had him all the
I
way
don't
at
like him.
19.
I don't like
You had
him.
him
I don't like him
15.
at
I
all.
have him 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really low on him.
Lots of people are all over the place on him.
Yeah, I like my number 30, Tyler Lydon. Shoots everything well, all-around player. I compared him to Sam Decker.
I have a great college player in Caleb Swanigan at 30.
All right, that'll wrap up the NBA big board. Make sure you check out the articles. All of ours are posted. Dylan, me, Zach, and Dan are all online. Check them out. All four will be in the description. We posted the Suns on Monday, Lakers on Tuesday. Today's the big board, and then tomorrow is draft day. It's about time, guys, and we will have our mock draft coming out live tomorrow on draft night, and then we'll keep going with the Warriors Friday.
Yeah, a very special mock draft.
It's going to be awesome, for
We'll
sure.
be doing some videos. We'll have Adam Silver there. We'll be doing a lot of funny stuff. Make sure you
Adam
guys...
Silver will not actually be there.
It'll be one of us with some glasses on. So, thank you for listening to our podcast. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed. And if you want to see that crazy mock draft tomorrow with the rest of our NBA draft analysis and some later stuff this summer, including NBA free agency, fantasy football, and more of our NBA What's Next series, make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow us on Twitter to get a notification every time we post a video or an article. So stay tuned, and we will see you guys tomorrow.